Felt Ellen was not taking responsibility at all. She was sugarcoating it.
It was a family to me. We had so much fun together at that show. We laughed all the time. We played games all the time.
I felt it was not a family. It was an atmosphere of fear.
We were in Santa Barbara. We drove by this place and someone's like, that's where Ellen lives. And to Mary Beth, I just said, I think Ellen, every morning she wakes up, Portia's sitting there having a matcha. She definitely gives me matcha energy. And Ellen looks out over all of Santa Barbara and goes, I can't even do it. They tried to cancel me.
For years, Hollywood sold Ellen DeGeneres as the face of kindness. She smiled, she danced, she preached positivity. She became the queen of daytime TV by telling the world to be good to one another. But when that image started cracking, the stories came pouring out. Now Rob Schneider is saying exactly what he thinks. Megyn Kelly is not backing down. And old accusations that once lived in the background are suddenly front and center again. So what actually happened to Ellen's public image? And why does her comeback keep making things worse? The collapse. A lot of people trace the turning point back to the now famous Dakota Johnson interview. What was supposed to be a light joke about a birthday party turned into a painfully awkward exchange. Dakota said she had invited Ellen. Ellen said she had not. The moment went viral, and suddenly people began looking at Ellen differently.
I'm just so sorry.
You're not sorry, so stop acting. I got kids, I'm married, I know exactly what a real apology looks like. I know when I have to give one. It means you're remorseful down in your soul and your spirit. You deeply regret what you've done. You lack all of those qualities. You lack them all. And you are not remorseful. You are not even sorry about what's happening. You're just sorry you got caught. You're just sorry that all that you've worked so hard to build on your lie is now crumbling right before your eyes. And it's not even a rise and a fall. It's just who you truly are. And that's what you're sorry about. So you can keep that apology, because don't nobody want to hear it at all. That's not an apology at all. You want a real apology? Turn yourself in.
That clip did not create the backlash by itself. It just opened the door. After that, former staffers, guests, and people who had worked around the show started speaking up. The stories were similar enough that even people who had never worked there started paying attention. One of the most repeated claims was that Ellen's on-screen image and off-screen behavior were completely different. That gap between the persona and the reputation became the real story. The viral fallout. Then came the internet. A single prompt asking people to share the wildest stories they had heard about Ellen unleashed a flood of responses. Some were minor, some were brutal. Together, they painted a picture that was very different from the one viewers had seen for years. One story claims she complained about chipped nail polish on a server's hand. Another described staff being afraid to even make eye contact with her in the hallway. Whether every detail was true or not, the sheer volume of similar stories made the situation impossible to ignore. At that point, the public image had already started to collapse. The issue was no longer just one awkward interview or one bad headline. It was the growing sense that the kindness brand had been manufactured.
Out of show business. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, because I'm mean. Yeah. Yeah, you can't be mean and be in show business. No, they'll kick you out. I was in therapy for a while trying to deal with all the hatred that was coming at me, and at one point my therapist said, "Ellen, where do you get this idea that everyone hates you?" And I said, well, New York Times, Washington Post, Entertainment Weekly, Us Weekly. I think Elmo may have said something recently on an episode of Sesame Street.
The apology problem. When the workplace controversy exploded, Ellen did apologize. But for many people, the apology never felt complete. It was framed as regret, but critics argued it sounded more like damage control than real accountability. And that became a problem, because once an apology feels calculated, people start listening for what is missing. That is why her later Netflix special created even more backlash. Instead of reading as reflection, it struck some viewers as self-pity. She joked about being kicked out of show business, but many people saw that as rewriting history instead of
that's
confronting
disingenuous. That's disingenuous.
Yeah, disingenuous.
Disgenerous. That's disgenerous.
Her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, "Oh, I had this birthday party," and Ellen said, "Well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me." And she said, "No, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened." And Ellen had blown her off. And then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview. She plays the victim. And she says, "For me," and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out.
Rob Schneider and Megyn Kelly both leaned into that criticism. Their argument was simple. You cannot spend years shaping a saintly public image, then act shocked when people stop buying the performance. The old stories. The controversy also revived older stories about Ellen's reputation going back years. Some people pointed to her relationship with Anne Heche, who later described a very different version of events. Others recalled complaints from past guests and staffers that had circulated quietly long before the scandal ever became public.
We're moving into a next step, hopefully, and hopefully I have some more intelligence, I know I do, around it because I've studied it to be able to communicate a little bit better about what happened 20 years ago and the fact that it's taken us 20 years to be able to be at a point where we can listen to the truth again.
And Ellen's fine. She can sit on her pile of money.
I hope you like your money because that's why I broke up with you. Do you like sitting on your piles of cash? Because guess what? It gets you exactly where you are. And by the way, baby, and it's what you wanted then, and I hope you're liking it now. Cheers.
You broke up with her because she had a lot of money, or you broke up with her because...
I broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion. Good luck. Our forks are never going to meet. The further we stay on with this, the further we will be apart.
Okay. She didn't live in that loving kindness,
No,
did
she didn't. But you and I don't talk
she
about
wasn't a
revenge a lot,
No, we don't. There's one thing that I remember. There is one little nugget that I do have a sense of wanting a little bit of. I guess the only word is revenge. I feel that you were so wronged, and now to know that you were continuing to be wronged, it fires me up a little bit, and especially when you look at somebody like Ellen, who literally is sitting on a pile of $60 billion, and then
could feed countries,
right? And then
but you got a Porsche.
I mean, you're not.
Has a very big force. It's not as big as Love's, obviously, but I do want to say you teased about this before, but that I was the original canceled, and I am going to be the original uncanceled. I am uncanceled today. I am finished with that. This is what I say. Goodbye. Watch out. You're.
So we have officially uncanceled Anne Heche.
I'm uncanceled, folks.
Now that we're talking about it,
I guess the truth's out now.
Okay, well, what is the truth? Because let's go, I guess. Let's go.
Okay, ask me a question and I will answer. I've been waiting to tell my truth for 20 years.
Nobody knew it was going to be today, but it is. Sometimes you just feel it and you go with it and the time is right.
Well,
and you sit on something for long enough that it's time to talk about it.
Yes, and the other dominator is with her people, apparently.
So I know from what I have read that Ellen has always said that she has no idea why you ended it with her. Can you answer that question once and for all? Okay.
I'm sorry. Do I have allergy?
Okay, fine. Let's let our viewers know.
Well,
Why?
first of all, I've written a book about some of the truths, and the second one will be coming out shortly. The fact of the matter is, if anybody chooses to look at the truth, the signs and the reasons of their arrival.
That is what makes this story bigger than one talk show. It became a case study in how celebrity branding works. If a public figure is treated as morally untouchable for long enough, the fall becomes much louder when it finally comes. The return problem. Even after the show ended, the story did not really go away. Whenever Ellen appears to make a comeback, the same question comes back with her. Has she actually changed? Or is she just trying to repackage the same image with better timing? That is why every new project becomes part of the same debate. For her critics, the issue is not whether she is talented. It is whether she ever truly accepted responsibility for what former employees and guests said happened behind the scenes. And for her supporters, the argument is that people are still refusing to let her move on. Either way, the controversy continues to define her more than any apology ever did. So the real question is not whether Ellen was once beloved. She was. The real question is how long an image can survive once the people around it stop protecting it. Because when a brand is built on kindness, the fall is not just a career problem, it is a trust problem. And once that trust breaks, every smile starts to look like a performance.